Hello again. So I'm here for day 7 of my progress with my Balalaika, my second in my video log. Lots happened this week. In the first instance, the strings arrived. I ordered from the Ukraine. So I've now got the correct strings on, 2 nylon, both tuned to E4, and 1 steel tuned to A4. Not particularly happy with them, bit disappointed, wasn't what I expected at all. I play ukulele, and the scale length on my tenor ukulele is almost exactly the same as this balalaika, and 2 of the strings are also tuned A4 and E4. Now they're all nylon on the ukulele, and they sound so much better. The metal steel strings quite pleasant, lots of sustain, no issue with that whatsoever, apart from the fact that it hurts my fingers when I play. But the 2 thick nylon strings, they're 1mm strings, much thicker than the strings to get the same note with the same scale length on the ukulele. They have an incredibly high tension, and frankly virtually no sustain, and they sound just dead and horrible. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be like. Maybe that's the sound of a balalaika, but I'm not enthralled at all. So I've toyed with all sorts of ideas, including going totally nylon and using the same strings that I've actually got on my ukulele. What's the point? It wouldn't really be a balalaika then, definitely wouldn't be a balalaika sound. I may as well just butcher the entire thing and turn it into a 3-string guitar, or sell it if I'm going to go down that route. Either way, the strings went on, they are what they are. They're better than the old brass wound strings that were on when I bought it. I had a lot of practice this week, learnt a few chords, so I know my C from my A minor, from my D, from my G. Now G's a bit tricky because I've been determined to play using the correct finger positions. Correct as in the recommended. I mean, it's your instrument, you can do what you want. But in the Russian style, a lot of the actual chords are fretted with the thumb. And it's amazing how often the thumb just gets to stay still while the other fingers move around, and I'm assuming that's the idea. So for instance, D, you'll just see me play, 2 strings fretted with the thumb, 1 with the finger. G, bit of a nightmare, and yet it comes up a lot, of course. 2 strings fretted with the thumb, 1 string with the finger, and this is the chord I'm persevering with but currently struggling with most. Got it that time, but with a rapid movement between the chords it's not so easy. Other big issue this week though has been the fact that once I've got the strings on, it was time to start thinking about the action. The action was ridiculously high, unplayable. By the time I'd fretted 1 string, it was so much lower than the 2 strings, it was almost impossible to strum across and catch all 3. And then of course all the notes were going out of whack because of the extra stretch. So the bridge has been removed, and at first I just replaced it with a bolt, taking off a 3-string guitar that I got upstairs, and that worked really well to a point. I thought, this is it, I've got it, it'll be great for a temporary bridge, and eventually I'll get a proper wooden one that looks the part, and I'll replace it once I'm sure I've got the right height. Sadly, however, I found that when I came below, I don't know, well above, I think the correct term is, above about the 8th fret, every single note sounded the same. I'd lowered the action to the point where it was playable, but the 16th fret was so badly placed that it was double the height of all the other frets. And like I say, once I reached about the 8th fret, every single note was touching that fret and sounded the same. So a pair of pliers have seen that gone, and that mostly fixed it. The 2 nylon strings were fine. However, again, the steel string, once I was down to here, I was getting a couple of notes that were same. So that's when the spanner went in. So now I've got the action higher than I'd actually like, for playing it, but at least I can fret it properly. I've not checked it for a bit, hang on. There's no fret there, I've removed it of course. So yeah, it is better. So it's not catching on any frets now, but again it's harder to play. So either way, that's where I'm currently at. Don't know where I'm going, don't know if I'm going to persevere. I said in my first video that I knew this was a trashy tourist model that was probably designed for hanging on the wall. I wasn't wrong. It's barely an instrument. But either way, I'll show you where I'm at for day 7, end of week 1, and then I'll call it a day. So I'm going to have a little blast through the first 2 verses of Scarborough Fair. I'm going to make lots of mistakes. There's going to be lots of dead strings, especially when I try and play the G. But either way, as a point of interest, this is Scarborough Fair. I played a few other songs, Sloop John B, Stand By Me, but either way, this is the one you're getting. So Scarborough Fair, and then we'll call it a day for day 7. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary and thyme. Remember me, the one who lives there. She once was true love of mine. Tell her to make me Cambridgeshire. Parsley, sage, rosemary and thyme. Without any seams, fine needlework. Then she'll be true love of mine. You see what I mean? Lots of duff notes. I don't care. It'll get better, or it'll stop altogether when I give up. If I decide the difficulties are insurmountable, I will give up. I won't flog a dead horse. But either way, I'll give it another week, see what happens. Play around with the action a little bit more, have a little more practice, see if I can get that ridiculous G chord to play with my thumb. I mean, it is possible, of course, to play it with 2 fingers. But again, I'm struggling to fret this one. So maybe the thumb is the way to go. Awful. Either way, see you in a week maybe.